What's going on, guys? Bexio back, and today we had a brand new video on Bitcoin because it has been falling a lot recently in the last couple of days and makes a lot of people start to talk about and worry about Bitcoin's price. But this move down in price actually gives us a lot of insight into the leverage market, into what's really going on. Once we look at liquidations, who's being liquidated, the amount of money being liquidated kind of tells us where the leverage is right now, as well as the fundamentals of Bitcoin still holding up great. So if you're paying attention only to the price, then you might be in a little bit of trouble. But before we jump into all of that, if you are not subscribed, make sure to smash that sub button because we're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. But let's jump right into Bitcoin stuff here. This chart, obviously the Bitcoin daily chart, we were in this red channel for a few, close to a week, a little over a week, and we were doing pretty well. We broke into it finally and tried to break out, came back down, bounced off of it, and bounced off it again. We expected that to be the case in this channel, and we actually just had major bad news. 43, almost 44K. All the bad news hit. Ukraine, Russia things, global politics, interest rates, the Fed flipping, everything that could have happened. You even see the left side here, the stock market down insanely bad for Friday. And this move down in Bitcoin matched that, and we've seen it continue to pile on here. Almost bounced off like 39.6 here. Couldn't sustain that, and we fell down where we are right now, $38,100. So on the chart for support and resistance, 37K is about where the next place is. So it wouldn't be surprising to go back down here and see if you try and bounce up or do something at that point. But you know, this is the price action of Bitcoin, and obviously we know the price action of every single financial thing on the planet right now is in uncertainty because of the global problems with Russia and Ukraine, with the interest rate problems, inflation problems. There's so much things going on, and the global geopolitics stuff throws so much of a wrench in there. And then just add on top inflation. We thought we had it down. The market thought we could just say, trust the Fed in what they were doing. And a Fed member comes out and says we had to be way worse and way harsher on interest rates than we were planning. And that just throws a wrench in that whole thing. So really insane stuff to see. And just kind of all the uncertainty coming at once for everything. And this affects all stocks and Bitcoin. But if you're only looking at price, then you don't get the whole story. But this move in price actually tells us a little bit about the leverage market. So we can see here for longs, 36K longs, that's about where it's usually been. The average around 35 to 40K is about what is normal for like longs in Bitcoin. So maybe even a little lower, but the shorts exploded, over 3,000 shorts. This number is usually around 200 because it's not something usually shorted. We're in a bull market for Bitcoin, and now we're seeing a ton of shorts on Bitcoin. And even if we look at the longs and short interest rate, we see it is both going up. We see the longs finding a way up, kind of making a big move up, but the shorts also having a little bit of a move up. So it seems like Bitcoin is much more shorted than it is longed, and that even shows in the liquidations. So in something like this, when you look at liquidations, we see we had a big move down in price from 44K to where we are right now, 38K. That's a very big move down in price. Those types of moves would trigger liquidations on people who are long, but you can see in the section here, nothing looks terrible when you zoom out and see the big liquidations like on January 20th. Massive liquidations in longs with the price went down, and then even again back here with 3 different spots with massive liquidations of longs when the price started to go down. So, and even right now we see shorts are not really getting liquidated at all. Obviously the price is moving down, but this can flip very fast as soon as if market sentiment flips, because that can flip fast too. So all it would take is a little bit more demand in Bitcoin, which obviously is not something super easy to get because demand means people will have to come in and want to buy it, or more adoption happens. So we are seeing kind of more adoption start to happen in other countries. Ukraine made Bitcoin legal. Russia's really starting to really adopt Bitcoin. We've even seen states in the U.S. We have Florida, Texas, Arizona, California, and Colorado getting in on Bitcoin. So the adoption's still there. So if you're missing out on the adoption and just looking at price and just thinking that only thing that matters is the price action, then short term, this leverage stuff can affect the price and your decisions. But long term, it's not going to affect it when you see adoption keep taking place. Tons of states starting to get into it in the United States, tons of countries starting to get into it worldwide. Adoption is just happening. And if you ignore that and only look at price, then you're going to miss out on the long term of what Bitcoin is. And just another way we can look at the kind of why Bitcoin's short and everything is the funding rates here. You see Bitcoin, so USD or USD margin is basically backed by stable coins or straight up dollars. And you see these rates are mixed between negative and positive. So that would be pretty mixed funding, but it's closer to negative. Even these exchanges that are positive are only slightly positive besides, these two. So, and then you go token margin. So this is backed by Bitcoin, like Bitcoin's the collateral for your leverage. And that also has a negative, negative, and even. So it's still mixed as well. So we're seeing much more negative funding rates, which means people are more short because that means people have to pay the longs for their shorts. If the funding rate's positive, the shorts or the longs have to pay the shorts to keep their leverage open. So it's just a way to kind of see that Bitcoin's really shorted right now, and it has been shorted for a long time. And it's not a terrible thing to get this reset in the leverage market, kind of get that leverage greed out, because we saw this move down in price and it didn't actually have an impact on liquidations to try and force the price down further. So the other way to have this happen is a little bit more demand comes in, or whales or somebody sees that Bitcoin's heavily shorted and they just go in and make a big market order, push the price up, and then you start liquidating shorts, which pushes the price up even further. So basically what happens when longs get liquidated, but in reverse. And obviously the fundamentals of Bitcoin are what matters long term to see how big this thing can get and see the adoption still happening and that everything is moving forward even regardless of price action. And we can see that story with the hash rate making a new all-time high yet again. It's been making all-time highs quite a bit here. Even the raw value, see this massive spike up. The 7-day, we see it all the way up to 214 million terahashes per second in the hash rate. So the hash rate continuing to grow, continuing to make all-time highs, and showing that fundamentals of Bitcoin are still moving forward. Everything that matters to the network is still growing. So if you're fixated on price only, you're going to get caught in something where it doesn't really matter. In short term, maybe things happen with leverage and everything, but long term, the hash rate matters, the wallet addresses matter, adoption matters, and we're seeing all of those move forward and get bigger, continue to grow, and the network as a whole continue to be adopted. So don't be that person staring at the price thinking that's the only thing that matters, and then eventually, if you only do that, the price starts to just keep going down or trade sideways. You get bored with looking at it, and then all of a sudden you look back a couple years later and Bitcoin's at all-time highs. Everyone's using Bitcoin, and things that you didn't even think were going to happen ended up happening. That's going to do it for this video. As always, don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. I see you guys in my next video.